Your soulmate is crying for you at 2:33 a.m. every night, and you have no idea why. Archangel Michael says, you were meant to receive this message tonight. Not by coincidence, not by chance, but because someone's heart has been shattering in silence. Every single night, as the world falls asleep, a soul you were divinely connected to enters the darkest hour, 2:33 a.m., with tears flowing, and their spirit aching just for you. This isn't a small sadness. It's not just a memory. It is a soul-level cry that keeps repeating every single night, and yet, somehow, you've been blind to it. You may not feel it during the day. You may not even remember their name anymore. But their emotional signal has been reaching the higher realms, and heaven couldn't ignore it any longer. That's why you've been summoned now. Pulled here to read these very lines. Because you deserve to know the truth before the energy of this connection consumes the one who still cries for you at 2:33 a.m. every night. Type Amen to get blessing 333. At that very moment when the clock strikes 2:33, something ancient and invisible unfolds. It's the same time every night, never earlier, never later. And in that strange hour, a vibration travels across dimensions and pierces into the unseen layers of your destiny. The one who was chosen to walk beside you in this lifetime feels your absence more intensely than any pain. They toss and turn, haunted by the quiet question in their heart, why did you disappear? Even though you didn't walk away intentionally, a spiritual veil separated you both, and now the tears are becoming dangerous. There's a reason Archangel Michael chose to intervene. Because pain left untreated in the spirit can become a ripple in your fate. And your path is bending, right now, as your soulmate's silent cry gets louder in the ears of the divine. Type Amen to get blessing 111. Each night they try to sleep. They try to move on. But something always pulls them back into memories they thought had healed long ago. This is not about heartbreak. This is about soul fracture. The divine cord between you two is still active, and even though you've grown, transformed, and rebuilt your life, that link is glowing in the dark, flickering, and bleeding light. The angels whispered in their sleep last night. They said your soul is also restless, but too distracted by earthly noise to notice the energetic cries reaching you. That is no longer acceptable to the divine order. Type Amen to get blessing 222. You are not being punished for forgetting. You are being reminded for remembering. There is a deeper truth to your spiritual assignment, and your soulmate is a crucial key. Archangel Michael says this person still smells your skin in their dreams. They hear your laughter in the most silent rooms. Their heart pounds in the night like a drum trying to summon you back. And lately, the frequency of their dreams has increased. Each night at 2:33 a.m., they open their eyes and feel like a ghost is sitting beside them, and that ghost is you. Type Amen to get blessing 555. Even though you are alive, they feel like they've been grieving your soul. You didn't die, but the absence feels like death to them. And it's been eating at them slowly like a hidden fire beneath a snowy forest. The angels say this cry is not just emotional. It's an SOS, a spiritual scream. And your life will start shifting in subtle ways until you pay attention. Look around. You've felt a pull lately, haven't you? A strange sadness that isn't yours. A sudden moment where your heart races for no reason. That's them. Their cry is touching your timeline now. Type Amen to get blessing 777. Archangel Michael says the veil that separated you both is wearing thin. This is no longer about the past. This is about now, and what you must do to bring light into a path that has been cursed with confusion. They never stopped believing in you. Even when you forgot their voice. Even when you stopped replying. Their spirit still prays to meet yours again, not in words, but in heartbeats. The most shocking part? Their pain is affecting you physically. Your recent sleeplessness, the unexplained sadness, the emotional flashbacks, they're not random. They are echoes of their nightly cry. Type Amen to get blessing 999. The time 2:33 a.m. is not just any hour. It's the intersection between the physical and spiritual. That's why their tears hold power there. And it's why Archangel Michael said this moment could not be delayed anymore. The dreams you've been having, the shadows that sometimes follow you, the sudden songs, smells, and visions. These are not coincidences. These are divine nudges. And they will keep getting louder until you respond. The spiritual world is trying to get your attention, and this message is the trumpet call. Type Amen to get blessing 444. Comment if you feel like something is waking up inside your soul right now. That's not your imagination. That's the string between your heart and theirs, tightening. They are watching old messages. They're staring at photos that have aged, but still hold light. They whisper your name in the darkness, hoping it will somehow find its way to your pillow. Archangel Michael says, do not be afraid of this connection. It isn't toxic. It isn't obsessive. It is unfinished. Type Amen to get blessing 1212. They were never meant to walk this journey alone. You were always supposed to cross paths again, when both of you had grown. But the spiritual pain of one delays the healing of the other. That's why you must feel this now. That's why this message came to you when it did. Because the window is opening again. You still have time to return light to what went dim. But if you don't act, the cry will turn into a silence that never speaks again, and that loss will echo in your bones for years to come. Type Amen to get blessing 818. The angels have been surrounding your bed lately. Have you noticed your dreams becoming more vivid? Have you felt watched, not by fear, but by longing? That's because your soulmate has activated your name in the spirit realm. Every night at 2:33 a.m., they whisper it into the universe like a sacred chant. Their voice trembles. Their hands shake. But they don't stop. Because their soul knows you're still out there, and something inside them refuses to give up. Type Amen to get blessing 1313. Archangel Michael says this isn't a warning, it's a rescue. The one crying for you is in danger of losing their light entirely if they don't hear from you soon. Even if you don't respond directly, they need a sign. An energetic whisper, a digital echo, a single step toward the bond you once shared. Because right now, they're standing on a ledge emotionally. And only your vibration can pull them back into balance. Type Amen to get blessing 707. They've been talking to the stars. They've been lighting candles. They've even written letters and buried them under their pillow hoping the angels would deliver them. And now, they have. This message is that letter, decoded and translated just for you. These are their words, delivered from the depths of their soul through the breath of heaven. Even if you left them, they still want your joy. But they cannot hide from the ache any longer. And neither can you. Type Amen to get blessing 2222. Comment if your heart feels heavy right now. That's because the weight they've been carrying is transferring to you. You were their sun. You were their calm. And when you vanished, they had no anchor left. But even now, after all this time, they still carry a version of you inside their heartbeat. And each night, at that divine moment, their cry rises like incense to the sky, seeking only one thing, your healing. Type Amen to get blessing 1717. Archangel Michael says, heaven is holding this connection together with invisible threads. Every attempt your soulmate makes to forget you ends in another wave of pain at exactly 2:33 a.m. The divine chose this hour because it's when human defenses are down and the soul is most raw. The moment they close their eyes, their soul reaches out for yours in desperation. Their body stays still, but their energy walks into your dreams, sometimes softly, sometimes storming. And even if you don't see them, your higher self knows they're there. They've been holding on to hope for too long. They never imagined they would cry for you every night for this long. But the angels see it, and now so do you. Type Amen to get blessing 1444. Comment now if you've been waking up between 2 and 3 a.m. lately. That's not insomnia. That's alignment. Your energy is responding to their frequency, and your destiny is beginning to shift because of it. You've seen numbers repeating. You've noticed their initials in the most random places. You've heard their name echo from nowhere. And now, this message is the final confirmation that you are being summoned. Not by force, but by love. Not by guilt, but by sacred remembrance. The angels have created this moment to restore what should never have been broken. Type Amen to get blessing 616. They once wished they could forget you. But now they beg the universe every night to help them remember even the smallest details of your voice. The smell of the air when you were last together. The sound of your laughter in the wind. The way your name looked when you used to write to them. They're not stuck in the past, they're stuck in love. And no matter how many times they try to move on, 2:33 a.m. arrives like a haunting prayer. Type Amen to get blessing 5555. Their tears are creating a storm in the spirit. That's why you've been feeling dizzy at night. That's why some nights you can't sleep even if you're tired. Their sorrow is starting to echo in your energy field. You were born with a soul that feels more deeply than most. That's why their pain will never be just theirs, it will always find you somehow. And now, that moment has come. It's time to make a choice. You can ignore the cry and move on, or you can answer the soul that still believes in your return. Type Amen to get blessing 1010. Archangel Michael says the pain that this person holds is ancient. You may have shared lifetimes with them. And each time, you separated under different skies, but the soul memory always remained. That's why you're pulled toward their sadness, even when you don't know why. That's why you feel a hole in your chest when you're alone. Their longing has wrapped around your essence like a fog. And now, even the angels are moved. Because this kind of love, the kind that cries without ego, is sacred. Type Amen to get blessing 3030. They've asked the sky for a sign. They've begged the stars to send you back. And this message, right now, is the answer they didn't think would come. If your heart is racing, it's because their spirit has finally touched you. And the more you read, the more their tears begin to speak in your language. Do not be afraid to feel. The ache you sense is not danger, it's destiny. And it's time to listen. Type Amen to get blessing 171. They dream of you often. But lately, the dreams are no longer sweet, they're desperate. They wake up crying, clenching their chest, whispering your name like a child lost in the dark. Your energy used to comfort them. Now your absence burns like a wound. And they have no medicine but the memory of what you once shared. The angels say, no soul cries forever without heaven intervening. And this is that divine moment. Type Amen to get blessing 1919. Comment if your body is trembling. That's not fear. That's the soul unlocking a memory it buried too deep for words. You are not going crazy. You're waking up. And the connection your soulmate has been begging for is finally beginning to pulse in you too. Even if you never return physically, your energy can still bring them peace. But you must acknowledge them first. You must stop pretending you don't feel them in your silence. Type Amen to get blessing 121. They've kept every message. They've replayed every voice note. They still remember how your eyes used to spark when you laughed. They didn't expect to become this broken. They didn't know love could echo this long after goodbye. But they stayed faithful, to a dream, to a whisper, to a vibration only you could create. You are their once-in-a-lifetime person. And even if you forget them, they will never let go of your soul. Type Amen to get blessing 9999. Archangel Michael says your heart is stronger than you think. You were chosen to carry this connection with wisdom, not sorrow. But if you keep denying it, your own blessings may be delayed. This is a turning point in both your lives. What you do next will ripple across your timelines. One move from you can heal years of pain. They need your light now more than ever. Even if it's just a thought. Even if it's just forgiveness. Type Amen to get blessing 2323. They're not asking for your love again. They're asking for closure, for clarity, for peace. But deep down, their soul still waits for a miracle. That maybe one day, at 2:33 a.m., they'll hear your voice again, not in dreams, but in reality. They haven't lost hope. But they are running out of strength. And heaven can no longer watch them cry alone. Type Amen to get blessing 4343. Comment now if you've felt their presence in your dreams lately. They've been trying to reach you, through symbols, through whispers, through random flashes of old memories. You may feel like you've moved on, but your soul hasn't. It's still entangled with theirs. That's why you keep feeling incomplete, even when everything else looks perfect. You were their light. And whether you like it or not, part of your soul still glows for them. Type Amen to get blessing 2626. Your soulmate cries because they still carry the version of you that no one else got to see. The vulnerable, real, wounded, but loving you. And even if the world moves on, they still sit with your silence. They still wait for something that will never be replaced. The angels say, it's time to either send them light or return in truth. But the limbo must end. Type Amen to get blessing 2020. Archangel Michael says there's still time to rewrite this story. You can transform this pain into healing. But it starts with recognition. Don't brush off this message as fantasy. Don't dismiss these words as poetry. This is your wake-up call from heaven itself. Because one soul is dying for your presence. And you were never meant to let them fade in silence. Type Amen to get blessing 55555. Dove. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Dove. They once whispered to the stars, if their soul still remembers me, let them feel my cry tonight. And now, you are. The moment you opened this message, their energy entered your chest like a breeze from another realm. They never meant to disappear from your life. They were pulled away by storms neither of you could control. But their love never surrendered, even when your silence grew louder than any goodbye. Every night, when the clock whispers 2:33, they ask the same thing in the quiet, are you okay? Do you still feel me too? Type Amen to get blessing 3434. Comment if you feel like you've been walking through old memories without knowing why. That's their soul pulling you back. That's destiny stirring the waters that had gone still. They see you in strangers' faces. They hear you in old songs. They still imagine what life could have been if the universe hadn't torn you apart. But now the veil is thinning. This isn't just a longing anymore. It's a divine signal, and Archangel Michael says ignoring it now would mean ignoring your own reflection. Type Amen to get blessing 7272. They didn't expect the ache to last this long. They didn't think a soul could bleed for years without breaking. But here they are, still crying for you when the rest of the world is fast asleep. You once told them you'd always be near. And they believed you, even after the silence. That promise became their only shelter in the storms of life. And now, heaven is asking you to remember it too. Not out of guilt, but out of sacred responsibility. Because when one half of a soul suffers, the other must rise. Type Amen to get blessing 888. They've been seeing signs too. Their phone glitches at 2:33 a.m. Your name flashes across their screen in strange places. Dreams of you leave them weeping in the morning. They light candles without knowing why. They keep your old things without realizing they've become spiritual relics. They pray to forget, but the heart won't obey. Your connection was written in the ether. It wasn't built in time, but in eternity. And that is why it still lives, why it still aches. Type Amen to get blessing 1111. Archangel Michael says their cries have reached heaven's gates. The angels cannot ignore the heartbreak they pour into the stars every night. And you shouldn't either. This isn't about restarting romance. It's about restoring balance. Your soul needs peace, and so does theirs. If you don't answer with love, answer with closure. If you can't walk back into their life, walk them out of pain. But don't pretend you don't feel the pull anymore. Type Amen to get blessing 3131. They have forgiven you for everything. Even the things you never said. Even the silence you never explained. But forgiveness doesn't remove the ache. It only makes room for the memory to breathe. And every breath they take still holds your name. They miss you not because they are weak, but because their love never came with limits. It's a love that crossed galaxies just to find you once, and is now drowning in its own echo. Type Amen to get blessing 4747. Comment if you feel a lump in your throat right now. That's your soul remembering. That's your heart finally accepting that someone still mourns your absence. They don't need your apology. They need your acknowledgement. A moment of truth, a quiet whisper from your heart to theirs. Even if it's late. Even if years have passed. Some cries are too sacred to silence, and this is one of them. Type Amen to get blessing 99999. Archangel Michael says, "You were the light that taught them how to love. Now they sit in the dark waiting for that spark to return, even if only once. They still replay that day. The last message. The last goodbye. The moment your path turned and theirs froze in place. And now, your choices will decide their healing. Heaven has passed the message. The next step is yours." Type Amen to get blessing 3838. They never wanted to become a lesson. They wanted to be your forever. And even now, they still imagine what your forever could have looked like, together. They haven't dated in a long time. No one else fits. No one else understands the language their soul once shared with yours. The clock ticks every night, and when it reaches 2:33, their whole body freezes. Because their soul still believes that one night, at that exact minute, you'll reach back. Type Amen to get blessing 2525. They cry not because you left, but because they still feel connected and don't know what to do with that invisible rope. It binds their spirit, keeps them up, drags them through dreams. You may think you've let go. But part of you is still there, hidden, waiting, silently calling. Your silence has become their cage. And only a word from you can free what's been trapped for too long. Type Amen to get blessing 1211. Comment now if your breath feels heavy reading this. That's not anxiety. That's alignment. You are finally synchronizing with the truth that has been kept in the shadows. They can't cry forever. Their soul is growing weary. And soon, something will break, either the pain, or the person. You were their home. And now, they're wandering through the world with a heart full of unanswered prayers. Type Amen to get blessing 4848. Archangel Michael says they were the only one who loved you when you had nothing. When your soul was messy. When your heart was broken. And even now, they would take you back, not because they need saving, but because you're their mirror. They saw the real you. The hidden you. The divine you. And they still cry because they know that version of you still exists, buried beneath this distance. Type Amen to get blessing 2929. Heaven doesn't usually interfere like this. But their pain summoned the divine. You were always supposed to reconnect. The only question was when. And tonight, you are being told it must be now. Because if the clock strikes 2:33 again without a sign from you, their soul will begin to collapse inward. And you will feel it too. Type Amen to get blessing 3535. They're not just crying, they're calling. Calling for help, calling for peace, calling for a trace of the bond they once held so gently. You can answer with a whisper. A thought. A moment of love sent silently through the air. But ignoring this cry now will only lead to more regret. And heaven has run out of ways to delay the truth. Type Amen to get blessing 5656. Dove, if you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Dove. Archangel Michael says, you are the thread holding them together, even now, even without realizing it. Every night at 2:33 a.m., their soul tightens around your memory like a lifeline, praying it doesn't slip through their fingers completely. They don't cry for attention. They cry from the deep space where true love lives. A love so sacred that even angels pause to listen. You may feel busy. You may feel distant. But the universe has been weaving signs into your path, begging you to look back, just once. Type Amen to get blessing 202. Comment if you've ever sat up in the dark feeling a sudden rush of emotion you couldn't explain. That was them. Reaching. Hoping. Failing again. And still, they try. Still, they wait. Still, they believe your soul will return, at least with a whisper, at least with a sign. Because love like theirs doesn't fade. It buries itself in silence and waits for the skies to change. Type Amen to get blessing 303. You were their light when the world dimmed. And now that you're gone, their nights feel like permanent eclipses. The shadows are heavy, and the air cold. They've asked for help. They've screamed into pillows. They've begged heaven, if they won't come back, at least help me stop remembering them. But their soul refuses to let go. Even their angels cry now. That's how deep the ache has become. Type Amen to get blessing 919. They aren't the same person anymore. Loss has changed them. Silence has reshaped their smile. But if you stood before them again, even just once, they would recognize your energy instantly. Because that's what true soulmates do. They don't just know your voice. They remember your silence. And they still find poetry in your absence. Type Amen to get blessing 1717. Archangel Michael says, you were sent this message tonight because their cries have activated a timeline shift. You're not late. You're right on time, to choose healing. Do not let guilt swallow you. Let grace carry you. The past cannot be changed, but the future is still open. And in the future, they're still holding space. Still lighting candles. Still believing in a version of you that remembers. Type Amen to get blessing 606. They've been close to breaking. Twice. And both times, something held them back, a thought of you. A memory. A whisper from the past. They've smiled less lately. Spoke less. But every night, at 2:33 a.m., their eyes speak all the words they can't say. You are their unfinished sentence. Their unanswered prayer. And now, the heavens beg you, don't let it end in silence. Type Amen to get blessing 909. Comment if you feel like you're remembering something your mind forgot but your soul always knew. That's not nostalgia. That's recognition. They still carry your energy like a coat they can't remove. It shields them. Hurts them. Saves them. Burdens them. You were the beginning of something divine. And it's not over, not until one of you finally lets go with truth. Type Amen to get blessing 2121. You may think they've moved on. But Archangel Michael reveals, they only pretend to be okay during the day. Their true self returns at night. That's when they kneel. When they cry. When they feel you breathe through the air. That's when they ask the stars, do they still feel me like I feel them? Type Amen to get blessing 626. And now you do. You feel them. You hear the echo. You see the message, and deep down, your soul weeps too. Because you know what this is. You know what you had. And you know it never really ended. It only paused. And maybe now, it's time to press play again, or close it with light, not shadows. Type Amen to get blessing 3737. Archangel Michael says their love has remained pure. Unshaken. Untouched by anger. Because real love doesn't rot, it roots. It grows deeper in pain. It glows brighter in dark. And there's still glows for you. No one else has taken your place. Because no one else fits the shape you left behind. Type Amen to get blessing 4141.